From the dawn of civilization to the digital age, the story of humanity is one of triumph and tragedy, innovation and destruction. Join us on an epic journey through time as we explore the rise and fall of empires, the birth of religions, and the relentless march of progress that has shaped our world. This is the history of human civilization. Our story begins not with the rise of great empires or the clash of mighty armies, but with a simple yet revolutionary change, the birth of agriculture. Around 10,000 BCE, in the fertile crescent of Mesopotamia, our ancestors made a discovery that would alter the course of human history. They learned to cultivate crops and domesticate animals, allowing them to settle in one place and form the first permanent communities. This agricultural revolution led to the rise of the world's first cities. In Mesopotamia, great city-states like Ur and Uruk emerged, boasting populations of over 50,000 people. These early urban centers became hubs of innovation, giving birth to new technologies, social structures, and perhaps most importantly, writing. The Sumerians of Mesopotamia developed cuneiform, one of the world's earliest writing systems. This allowed them to record laws, contracts, and religious texts, laying the foundation for complex societies and governments. One of the most famous early legal codes was the Code of Hammurabi, created around 1750 BCE. This basalt stele, standing over 7 feet tall, detailed 282 laws covering everything from property rights to criminal punishment. Its famous principle of an eye for an eye would influence legal systems for millennia to come. As Mesopotamian civilization flourished, another great culture was emerging along the banks of the Nile River. Ancient Egypt, with its mighty pharaohs and monumental architecture, would leave an indelible mark on human history. The Egyptian civilization is perhaps best known for its obsession with death and the afterlife, exemplified by the construction of the Great Pyramids. Around 2560 BCE, the pharaoh Khufu ordered the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, a feat of engineering that would remain the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. But the pyramids were more than just tombs. They were a testament to the pharaoh's power and a gateway to eternal life. The complex mummification process, the elaborate burial rituals, and the vast treasures interred with the dead all speak to the Egyptians' belief in an afterlife that was as real and vital as life itself. While Egypt and Mesopotamia dominated the ancient Near East, other civilizations were emerging across the globe. In the Indus Valley of modern-day Pakistan and India, a sophisticated urban culture flourished from around 3300 to 1300 BCE. These people, whose writing system remains undeciphered to this day, built well-planned cities with advanced sewage systems and public baths. Their largest city, Mohenjo-Daro, may have housed up to 40,000 people at its peak. Meanwhile, in China, the first dynasties were taking shape. The legendary Xia dynasty, said to have been founded by the great flood tamer Yu, gave way to the Shang dynasty around 1600 BCE. The Shang developed a complex system of writing using oracle bones, and their bronze working skills were unparalleled in the ancient world. As we move into the first millennium BCE, we see the rise of new powers that would shape the course of Western civilization. In Greece, a collection of city-states emerged, each with its own unique culture and government. Two of these city-states would come to dominate: Athens and Sparta. Athens, with its experiments in democracy and its flourishing arts and philosophy, stood in stark contrast to the militaristic society of Sparta. The rivalry between these two powers would eventually engulf all of Greece in the devastating Peloponnesian War. But before that conflict, the Greeks faced an existential threat from the east. The Persian Empire, under kings like Darius and Xerxes, attempted to conquer Greece in a series of invasions. Against all odds, the Greeks emerged victorious, preserving their independence and setting the stage for a golden age of Hellenic culture. This cultural flowering reached its peak under Alexander the Great. In just 13 years, from 336 to 323 BCE, Alexander conquered an empire stretching from Greece to India. Though his empire fragmented after his death, the spread of Greek culture and ideas throughout the ancient world would have lasting consequences. As the Hellenistic world grappled with Alexander's legacy, a new power was rising in the Italian peninsula. Rome, once a small city-state, was beginning its ascent to imperial greatness. The Roman Republic, established around 509 BCE, was a complex political system that attempted to balance the power of the aristocratic Senate with the rights of the common people. This system produced great leaders like Cincinnatus and Scipio Africanus, but it also led to bitter conflicts between the patricians and the plebeians. Rome's greatest challenge came in the form of Carthage, a powerful city-state in North Africa. The three Punic Wars, fought over more than a century, would determine the fate of the Western Mediterranean. The second of these wars saw the brilliant Carthaginian general Hannibal cross the Alps with a force of elephants, bringing Rome to the brink of defeat. But Rome prevailed, and its victory marked the beginning of its transformation from a regional power to a vast empire. Under leaders like Julius Caesar and Augustus, Rome would come to dominate the entire Mediterranean world and beyond. As Rome reached the height of its power in the 2nd century CE, momentous changes were taking place in the Near East. In Judea, a Jewish preacher named Jesus of Nazareth was gathering followers with his message of love, forgiveness, and the coming kingdom of God. Though Jesus was executed by the Romans, his followers believed he had risen from the dead. This belief gave birth to Christianity, a new religion that would eventually transform the Roman world. For the first 3 centuries of its existence, Christianity was often persecuted by Roman authorities. But in 313 CE, the Emperor Constantine issued the Edict of Milan, granting tolerance to all religions in the empire. By the end of the 4th century, Christianity had become the official religion of Rome. As the Roman Empire grappled with the rise of Christianity, it faced increasing pressure from outside forces. Germanic tribes, pushed westward by the advancing Huns, began to cross the empire's borders in ever greater numbers. In 410 CE, Rome itself was sacked by the Visigoths, a shocking event that signaled the empire's growing weakness. By 476, the last Western Roman emperor was deposed, marking the traditional date for the fall of the Western Roman Empire. But in the east, the Roman, or Byzantine, Empire continued. Under Emperor Justinian in the 6th century, there was a concerted effort to reconquer the lost Western territories. Though initially successful, these gains proved temporary, and the Byzantine Empire would spend much of its remaining history fighting for survival against new threats from the east. One of these new threats emerged from the Arabian Peninsula in the 7th century. Islam, founded by the Prophet Muhammad, quickly spread beyond its birthplace to become a global religion and the foundation of vast empires. The initial Arab conquests were remarkably swift. Within a century of Muhammad's death in 632 CE, Muslim armies had conquered territory stretching from Spain to India. This rapid expansion brought diverse cultures under Islamic rule, leading to a flourishing of science, philosophy, and the arts in the medieval Islamic world. The Islamic Golden Age, centered in Baghdad under the Abbasid Caliphate, saw advancements in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and many other fields. Scholars translated and preserved ancient Greek texts, helping to lay the groundwork for the later European Renaissance. While the Islamic world flourished, Europe entered a period often referred to as the Dark Ages. Yet this term is misleading, as it was a time of significant social and technological change. The fall of the Western Roman Empire led to the rise of feudalism, a social and political system based on the exchange of land for military service. Kings granted land to nobles, who in turn provided knights to fight in the king's armies. At the bottom of this hierarchy were the peasants, who worked the land in exchange for protection. The church became a powerful force in medieval Europe, often serving as the only unifying institution in a fragmented political landscape. Monasteries preserved ancient learning and served as centers of education and scholarship. This period also saw the rise of new kingdoms. In France, Charlemagne built a vast empire and was crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope in 800 CE. In England, Alfred the Great united much of the country and laid the foundations for the English monarchy. The 11th century saw a series of religious wars known as the Crusades. Launched by Pope Urban II in 1095, these expeditions aimed to recapture Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Muslim rule. The Crusades had far-reaching consequences. They increased contact between Europe and the Middle East, stimulating trade and cultural exchange. They also strengthened the power of the papacy and European monarchs, while weakening the Byzantine Empire. Meanwhile, in Asia, the Mongol Empire was on the rise. Under Genghis Khan and his successors, the Mongols created the largest contiguous land empire in history, stretching from Korea to Eastern Europe. Though often remembered for their brutal conquests, the Mongols also facilitated trade and cultural exchange along the Silk Road, connecting East and West as never before. As we move into the 14th century, Europe faced one of the deadliest pandemics in human history, the Black Death. This outbreak of bubonic plague, which peaked between 1347 and 1351, may have killed up to half of Europe's population. The Black Death had profound social and economic consequences. The shortage of labor led to increased wages for survivors and contributed to the eventual decline of feudalism. The trauma of the plague also influenced art and literature, with themes of death becoming more prominent. In the wake of the Black Death, Europe entered a period of recovery and renewal. The 15th century saw the beginning of the Renaissance, a cultural movement that began in Italy and spread throughout Europe. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo created masterpieces that still inspire awe today, while scholars rediscovered ancient Greek and Roman texts, leading to new ways of thinking about the world. The Renaissance spirit of inquiry and exploration led to one of the most significant events in human history, the Age of Exploration. Beginning in the 15th century, European nations launched expeditions to explore the world's oceans and establish new trade routes. Portuguese explorers like Vasco da Gama found a sea route to India, while Christopher Columbus's voyages for Spain led to European awareness of the Americas. These discoveries set the stage for the creation of vast colonial empires and the beginning of globalization. The consequences of this global contact were profound and often tragic. European diseases decimated indigenous populations in the Americas, while the Atlantic slave trade forcibly transported millions of Africans to work in European colonies. The 16th century saw another seismic shift in European society with the Protestant Reformation. In 1517, Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to the door of a church in Wittenberg, challenging the authority of the Catholic Church and sparking a religious revolution. The Reformation led to the creation of Protestant churches and fundamentally altered the religious landscape of Europe. It also contributed to political changes, as rulers either embraced or rejected the new religious ideas. This period also saw the rise of powerful monarchies in Europe. Rulers like England's Elizabeth I, Spain's Philip II, and France's Louis XIV consolidated their power, laying the foundations for the modern nation-state. The 17th and 18th centuries brought new ways of thinking about the world and humanity's place in it. The scientific revolution, exemplified by figures like Galileo and Newton, established the foundations of modern science. This was followed by the Enlightenment, an intellectual movement that emphasized reason, individual rights, and progress. Enlightenment thinkers like John Locke, Voltaire, and Rousseau challenged traditional authority and articulated ideas that would fuel political revolutions. The most famous of these was the French Revolution of 1789. Inspired by Enlightenment ideals and the recent American Revolution, the French people overthrew their monarchy and established a republic. Though the revolution eventually gave way to Napoleon's empire, its ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity would inspire movements for democracy and human rights around the world. The late 18th and 19th centuries saw another revolution that would transform the world, the Industrial Revolution. Beginning in Britain and spreading to other parts of Europe and North America, this period saw the development of new technologies and manufacturing processes that dramatically increased productivity. The Industrial Revolution brought about urbanization, as people moved from rural areas to cities to work in factories. It led to the rise of new social classes, including a wealthy industrial bourgeoisie and an urban working class. The changes wrought by industrialization also sparked new ideologies. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels published the Communist Manifesto in 1848, articulating a critique of capitalism and calling for a workers' revolution. The 19th century was also a time of nationalism and imperialism. New nations like Germany and Italy were formed through the unification of smaller states. At the same time, European powers engaged in a scramble for Africa, carving up the continent into colonies. This competition for colonial possessions, along with rising nationalism and a complex system of alliances, set the stage for World War I. From 1914 to 1918, this Great War engulfed much of the world in conflict, resulting in millions of deaths and redrawing the map of Europe. The aftermath of World War I saw the collapse of empires, the creation of new nations, and the rise of communism in Russia with the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. The 20th century would see humanity reach new heights of technological achievement, but also new depths of destruction. World War II, even more devastating than the first, saw the development and use of atomic weapons. The post-war world was dominated by the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, a conflict that shaped global politics for decades. This period also saw decolonization movements in Africa and Asia as former colonies gained independence. The latter half of the 20th century brought remarkable scientific and technological advances. The space race led to humanity's first steps on the moon, while the development of computers and the internet revolutionized communication and access to information. As we enter the 21st century, humanity faces both unprecedented challenges and opportunities. Climate change threatens the stability of our planet's ecosystems, while rapid technological change is transforming every aspect of our lives. Yet we also have the knowledge and resources to address these challenges in ways our ancestors could never have imagined. From the first cities of Mesopotamia to the global interconnected world of today, the story of human civilization is one of constant change and adaptation. As we look to the future, we can draw inspiration from the long arc of human history. Through times of darkness and light, triumph and tragedy, humanity has persevered, creating works of stunning beauty and achieving feats that once seemed impossible. What will the next chapter of our story hold? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the saga of human civilization, with all its complexity and contradiction, will continue to unfold in ways that will astonish and inspire future generations. And so, our journey through the annals of human history comes to a close. From the first seeds planted in Mesopotamia to the digital empires of today, we've witnessed the triumphs and tribulations that have shaped our world. As we stand on the precipice of tomorrow, let us carry forward the wisdom of our ancestors and the hope of generations yet to come. But our story doesn't end here. In fact, it's just beginning. If you've stayed with us through this epic adventure of humanity, From ancient civilizations to modern marvels, we want to hear from you. Did you find this video informative? Did it ignite your passion for history? If so, why not join our community of history enthusiasts? Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to ensure you never miss our next historical journey. Your support fuels our mission to bring the past to life and illuminate the path to our future. Remember, each of us is now an author in humanity's ongoing saga. What role will you play in writing the next chapter? Thank you for being a part of this incredible voyage through time. Until our next historical adventure, may your days be filled with curiosity, learning, and the wonder of discovery. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next epoch of history.